Okay, this is the unvirtuous woman. Continue. And what I'm doing is I'm reading a list from Proverbs 7:5-27, which talks about the unvirtuous woman. I'm almost down to the bottom of it, like a little more than halfway through. And one of the things that stated is, will unvirtuous woman or worldly woman will bring strange men into the marriage bed in her home. For me, I would never ever get married. And to be honest, the question, if that was the case, and maybe that's why I'm so by myself now. If that was the case, the answer would probably be kind of sort of yes. But I would never cheat or anything like that. I would invite to join, and so I guess in that way, I really am a worldly woman. But I wouldn't do that now because I don't have that option. That's just that part of my life. But if if I was if I had a boyfriend and we had a real good relationship to the point where we had been together for years and years and years, and let's say I felt like I needed some more attention, and all of us were cool, me, him, and he, we're all cool. I'll be like, hey, we all chill out, we can all cuddle, it's good, you know. But I would ask that boyfriend ahead of time, I would let him know that that's how I am, like, occasionally I would want to invite other people to join and whatever. Are you good with that? And if he's good with that, then that's fine. And of course, if he wants to occasionally invite, that's what well too. But he needs to make sure that I know the person and that I feel good about it. So I'm all good with that. Um, I'm not gonna get into that any further, but yeah, as long as everybody knows and is respectful and it's all together, then that's cool. Will use men for their money to buy her dinner, movies, clothes, jewelry without concern or guilt? Answer to that is no, I will not. I don't use anybody for anything. If I ever had an opportunity where I did need something, I would just straight out ask. Which, I had a male friend tell me, you got to make people think it's their idea. No, if I need something, I just ask. If and it's very rare that I ask for anything. One, because I don't know anybody to ask, and then two, because I hate asking people. I like to be the one that provides. I don't like to be the. And one good example of that is that I absolutely broke, and I'm still gonna be broke forever. Now I'm holding on to what I got. I'm gonna be eating soup for the next couple of weeks only. That's probably all I ate this time. Maybe a couple sandwiches here and there. Um, and silly me, not a penny to my name, I saw some guy that looked familiar that was homeless, and I gave him $5. and I'm not cursing this because God gave it to me to give to him, literally. And I told him someone gave this to me to give to you, and because I still had everything that I needed, the bare minimum. But regular worldly people wouldn't do that. And then like this guy's boy was on the bus and he didn't have the money. This bus driver got snarky and I was like, how much you need? I don't have money to give like that, but I did. And it wasn't really me. God did it because that money was meant for them through God because I've had people give it to me before in the past, whether I needed it or not. And I remember me trying to take a 20-mile walk to an interview, stopping at a gas station for directions, and trying to ask the lady, well, just hit the walk button, trying to do it nonchalantly so she don't make a big deal out of it. And she was like, "Why are you? Let me ask you this. Why are you walking?" And I was just like, "Oh, because I got to get to an interview." You going to an interview? Where are you going? And I didn't want to tell her at first. And she was like, "Going to an interview." And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "How much do you need?" And that's what put me into the light of I owe this money because they got me to the interview. True story. So I would never use anybody for anything. We'll stay out until sunrise and not home at a decent hour. I like to have fun every now and then. Is that a part of my life and do I do it? No. But if I had an opportunity to, I would. I would stay out all night long if I could. Because I don't have anybody to answer to, really. If I could, I would. Speaks persuasive words to seduce men into immoral actions. I wouldn't use seductive words to seduce men into doing something naughty that's not of a sensual nature. And if I did do seduce someone to with words to use do something naughty of a sensual nature, it would be both of us agreeing to it because typically if a man is in my presence in my personal space when I'm feeling high on myself, it's kind of understood that we're there to cuddle and to be to be amorous. You know what I'm saying? So things happen. You know what I mean? But outside of sensuality, no. Will spread diseases without concern for others' health? Nope, hell no. I don't have any, never have had any, don't want any, and that's why I'm glad that God just leads me to my fantasies versus the reality in regards to that, because He's protecting me, and I'm glad that people think what they think of me, because that way, again, I'm protected from that, and hopefully this will be it. Cold hearted but focused on capturing a man's heart and then crushing him. No, not at all. I don't know. They keep talking about men, but I guess it's because the virtuous woman is based on being to your husband or whatever. Cold hearted but focuses on. I'm not cold hearted at all. I don't care about capturing a man, and I don't want to crush anybody. So all of that's like not even dealing with me. When things get tough, we'll find comfort in another's arms. In another's arms, no. In another words, yeah. Her house is stressful and full of fighting and strife. I don't like fighting. I don't like strife. I don't like it. But if you look at the environment and the mess, I guess that can be seen as a single person's version of fighting and strife. Her ways will lead a man to early death from the worrying, hurts, and belittling comments. That might be true. Because again, just like that Jesse Powell guy, I ask questions a lot, and sometimes people feel like I'm talking down to them or belittling them, but that's not the case at all. So that's it. So going back to the Jesse versus um, the Advice Show. So yeah, do I consider myself a woman by physiology? Yeah. Refer Okay, and then when I said referred to Jay as a coon, what is a coon and do I agree? I don't believe in calling anybody anything out of their name, regardless of what it was. Um, and Jesse, and I'm gonna tell y'all this. Um, when the coon thing came up, Jesse was like, "Oh, I didn't know you called me a coon." You know what I'm saying? Because I guess he was under he just had respect for him. That's why he invited him to come on the show. Then he found out this man he invited called him a coon. And he was like, "When did that happen? Why did you call me a coon?" And the Advice Show was like, "Well, you were on Fox News saying something." And then Jesse made a very good, legitimate point. He said, "Well, you should, if you felt that way about me, you should have prayed. If you're a man of God, you should have prayed for me versus calling me a coon." And I absolutely agree with that. And the Bible study class that I went to a week or two ago, they were doing a study, a women's group at this local church called from a book called Taming the Tongue. And that was one of the things, people gossiping and talking about each other. And if you stand and you listen to someone else gossiping about it, you're co-signing it, you know. And instead of co-signing it, the first thing you need to say when they come to you with that gossip and waiting for you to join in and go into agreement with them is ask them, well, did you pray for them? Simple. So that's my thing. I agree with Jesse on that. That's why I don't like when he calls people sluts and coons or all these other things he calls them, because that's what that other guy does, and I hate that guy with a passion. He's so nasty. But it's like, the first thing that you should ask is, did you pray for them? Did you pray for them? The first thing you should do is pray for them. But I can't say what someone else should or should not do. You do what you do based on what works for you. But when you're looking at love versus evil, which is what it all base comes down to, if you see some flaw in somebody and you do something, anything other than pray for them, you're not showing love. That's not love. So I believe if you feel anything negative towards a person or see something that you dislike, you pray for them. You don't talk about them, because then you're instigating that negativity. And then he was like, well, and that's back to what I was saying about you don't know him to call him a coon. Just like you said, you didn't know Farrakhan would say whether or not him calling white people blue-eyed devils was evil. Or even if he even, you don't have no right to do that. I mean, you have a right if you're a ratchet person. Ratchet. You have a right if you're a ratchet person to do that. But if you're an honorable, respectable man of God, you don't have a right to do that. And again, I do love this man's show, but I'm just telling the truth. You know, just telling the truth. Um, And then some issue came up about Paul being anti-Jew or a coon. Paul and Jesus. He asked him, "Was Paul or Jesus? Do you consider them anti-Jew or a coon?" And then, because then the Vice show was like, "Oh, that has nothing to do with it." Well, it did have something to do with it because the tenants that he was asking about being the head of the house, this is, and this is being real particular, but I understand where he's coming from. He was saying because being head of the household as a man, and just the basic tenets that of what manhood is, and about the race issue and all that. They had certain views on those things. Does that make them a coon? You know. And then he was playing the song "Coon Train is Coming," so I'm gonna have to check that out when I get a chance. And again, the reason why I thumbs up that video that they did was because it was very educational for me, informative. Okay, and then one thing he called him out on, and I agree completely. What Jesse called the advice show out on was he said the advice show says he calls it like it is, but he was afraid to answer when asked about Louis Farrakhan and Obama, or appeared to be afraid. He dodged the question. Maybe he didn't realize he was doing it, but he didn't want to say anything negative about them, directly or indirectly. So it doesn't mean he was afraid, but he just didn't want to. Um, and then this is where Jesse kind of went wrong. He kept trying to ask, well, I guess because maybe being old fashioned or whatever, maybe he doesn't use coon in his regular speech, so he doesn't really know that it's only like a derogatory term for black people that are nasty against blacks, or that hold black people down. And he was like, well, such and such, white person that holds black people down, are they a coon? I don't think Jesse got it that that's only towards black people, and I don't think the advice show accurately explained that to him that it's only for black people, because coon is just a derogatory term, um, that for black people that put other black people down, and it's usually, or hold black people down, and it's usually said by other black people. So just a whole bunch of coonery in that too. Because if you're a black person calling a black person a coon, you're being a coon because you're holding another black person down by saying that. So it's all a bunch of, like they would say, fucker. Oh shit! I really shouldn't have put all these beans in here. I really messed up on that. I'm gonna have to take care of this and come back on that.